Welcome to Real Money Talks. Real strategies from the moneymakers and the world changers that you can use to make millions, keep those millions, multiply your wealth, and build your team. Here's your host, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View, Laurel Langmeyer.
Hey, this is Laurel. Welcome back to Laurel's Real Money Talks, a podcast about making millionaires. How do you make money as a business owner? How do you keep it? How do you invest it? How do you do it with the team to become a millionaire? So it is so important. All of this integration of that conversation comes together. So I bring folks that are brilliant to the podcast to add to the conversation in one of those sectors. So we're going to go team. We're going to go make money and just have a great conversation. So Stephan Spencer is with us, and he is really known, like if you really researched him, for being just a genius in the SEO space. So let's talk about that and kind of catch us up. And we really haven't talked since this whole pandemic happened. And I understand you're onto a spiritual journey, and I cannot wait to share with our audience about that.
Sure. So SEO changes constantly, as you might imagine, because Google evolves their algorithms. And so I've been in the space for decades, since the 90s, and I've seen a lot of techniques, a lot of companies come and go. And what is tried and true, I find, is writing quality content that's worth sharing, doing stuff that is above board that you're more than happy to disclose to a Google employee, and building your authority, adding value, and revealing light in everything you do, and kind of getting the business karma paying you back. So that's what's tried and true. You have great content, you've figured out what your audience is interested in, and you're writing to those topics and to those keywords, not just writing for your own amusement, but you're also not writing just for search engines. That's a danger that some people fall into that trap. So you're writing for humans, but you're writing in a way that the search engines will be clear on what your keyword focus or theme is. I think it's interesting to see how AI is taking
I was going to take you in that direction.
Yeah. So if you think about how Google has evolved to incorporate different aspects of machine learning and general artificial intelligence into their algorithms, they've acquired a company called DeepMind, which was a key player in that space. They've come up with all sorts of really cool algorithms that are AI or machine learning based, like BERT. And yeah, it's a fun space to watch. But also, if you're going to participate in that space, you're going to try and rank highly in Google. Do bear in mind that you need to have some sort of AI on your side as well, right? The only way to outsmart an AI is another AI.
Yeah.
So if you're not using tools that have that kind of capability, I remember Peter Diamandis saying this a couple years back. There are going to be 2 kinds of companies that exist at the end of this decade: companies that are using AI at their core, and companies that are out of business.
That's good. So I just want to go back to one thing, because you said right? So write what your audience. Where would you advise? Where's the best place to post? Obviously podcasts, which are, for the most part, more audio or video, but where would you write to, just to kind of let our audience know where should they be posting? Where's getting the most traction? What should they be doing?
Well, if you're posting to social media, that's a different thing. That's not writing content for consumption on your own website, and that isn't going to really help you that much with your SEO. If there's any links that point from your social presence to your website, doesn't count as far as Google's concerned. It's a no followed link. It gets neutered. It's not passing any link equity. So if you're looking for a place to write, don't write on somebody else's platform. Write on your platform first, right? So don't build on rented land. So medium.com, Facebook, et cetera, these are not your platforms. You could get kicked off at any time. You could violate some obscure term of service and you're gone. And there goes all of that history and all that reputation you built up. So be careful about building on rented land. Now, if you're, you mentioned podcasting. If you're podcasting, you're creating video content, the best way to leverage that is to turn that into long form blog content. So if you look at my 2 podcast shows, which are Get Yourself Optimized and Marketing Speak, and you've been a guest. So if you look at any of those episode pages, you will see an entire transcript that was turned into a long form blog post full of images from stock photo sites, royalty-free stock photo sites like pexels.com and Unsplash. And there's captions underneath, there are pull quotes, there are click to tweets. Anytime a book is mentioned, the book cover is displayed and it links to Amazon with our affiliate code in it. So that is just, I think, table stakes these days. If you're just posting a very short outline type of podcast show notes page, that's thin content. That's not going to impress Google.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Because our time together is short, I want to switch gears. So last January, you said you had kind of a transformation. What happened?
Well, so my podcast, Get Yourself Optimized, is a personal development podcast. I'm very into personal development, and all started really in 2009, going to my first Tony Robbins event, and here's a photo of me back in 2007, if you can believe that.
Wow,
bit of a transformation, yes. So, if you ever saw the movie Benjamin Button, I was inspired by that. No. So here's what happened. I walked on the 2,000-degree hot coals, and I realized, like, if I can do this, I can do anything. And so I just went on this personal development journey. Well, in 2012, I had my first spiritual awakening because I was agnostic up until age 42. And I got touched on the head by a monk. This was in India on a Tony Robbins Platinum Partner trip. It's called a Diksha. It's a oneness blessing. And I got zapped, and it was amazing. It was like a psychedelic trip. I've never done drugs, but everything was in Technicolor, like a cartoon. It was incredible. And I felt this deep sense of connection to the creator, to the fabric of creation, to all that is. And my life was changed forever. Well, fast forward another 7-8 years to last January. And I
have to say somewhere in there, you met your beautiful wife and had a beautiful child. So
yes. Well, that also, I have to give some credit to Tony Robbins for, and the creator too, for all these synchronicities. I met Orion at a Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins event.
I didn't know
very
that.
End. And we were introduced by a mutual friend, a platinum partner. And within 5 minutes, I knew she was my soulmate. And the way I knew was because she hadn't gotten the oneness blessing, the Diksha, that night, but most of the audience had. And I had learned a couple months earlier how to give Dikshas, not just receiving that one that awakened me. And I offered to give her one. And this is right after we met. And as I was, had my hands on her head and like divine grace is flowing through me to her, the more you want the grace to flow, the more that does. And I prayed for her like she was my soulmate. And I knew within 5 minutes of meeting her. So I had gotten a ring and everything. I proposed to her 9 days after we met in a hot air balloon above the Las Vegas desert. And she said no. She said, not yet. And that was a very awkward and a tear-filled descent back to earth, but it was 20 minutes of agony. But I'll tell you, it really brought us even closer together. And I re-proposed to her 9 months after, at the very waterfall at the JW Marriott Resort where we had met. This waterfall where she had prayed for me to show up 48 hours prior to us meeting. So she said yes that time. And yeah, we have a 2-year-old. He's amazing. what a gift. Yeah, it's just incredible blessing. He's very wise. He's my teacher. And
Aren't they all? Huh?
yeah, yeah, I'm very blessed. So what happened last January, it sounds out there, pretty out there, because what I prayed for was a job. And that might sound a little out there because I'm a
For me,
successful entrepreneur.
from you and I, yeah, would be. I would think
Yeah.
you're unemployable because you're so good.
Well, not by God. I'm happy to take a job given to me by God. So what happened was I was inspired by a previous guest on my podcast, a woman, a fantastic psychic medium. Her name is Sheila Gillette. She's pretty famous. She channels 12 archangels, and she is the real deal. She is, like, no doubt.
Interesting. You have to introduce me to her.
Yeah, she's really cool. She actually got Esther Hicks started. So it's her and the angels that channel through her that got her started. And of course, Esther Hicks, Hay House author, and channels the beings Abraham. And I've been a fan of Abraham for since like 2013. Orion actually turned me on to them. Anyways, so I decided after watching a video about her near-death experience in 1969. This is Sheila Gillette. I was just amazed about what she had prayed for was, please God, let me stay on the planet. Let me raise my kids. Just give me a job. I'll do anything. And then Jesus showed up at the base of her bed, smiling, beautiful, warm energy flowing into her crown chakra. And she was miraculously, instantly healed. She was not going to make it. Wow. She had a pulmonary embolism. They had, performed last rites on her and stuff, I believe. So she was, the doctors were flabbergasted. And then she started having psychic abilities, automatic writing, and then she started being able to channel. And so she's been channeling Theo, these 12 archangels, that's the name they go by collectively, for decades, since the 70s. And so one night, a couple months later, I decided I'm going to pray for a job. And the veils were thinned. I was able to see the matrix, and I was able to get a real sense for what this life is about. And I was just so
share.
Well, this is a simulation of sorts, but not the kind that Elon Musk thinks it is, where it's like advanced humans and we're in a video game. No, but when you have things show up that defy all odds, these are not random occurrences. Actually, there's nothing random. And so things that would start happening for me just shortly after this awakening in January.
Where were you in January when you had it?
I was in Israel. And that was actually, I think, part of the unlocking of this this new level for me, to use a video game analogy, because I was really immersed in the energy of the Holy Land. I'd been to some of the sites of famous rabbis, and I'm not Jewish, but I got a huge dose of spiritual energy from being there. And we were in Tel Aviv, but we would go visit Jerusalem, we'd visit Tzfat, and it was just incredible. And on that night that I prayed, and Orion was asleep, so she did not know what was going on. I didn't want to wake her because that's not kind. She doesn't sleep well as it is with our little one, waking her up in the middle of the night. So I was just over the moon, not knowing what to do next, because everything had been revealed to me. Well, not everything, but like a lot I had just gotten a download, like in the Matrix movie. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to sound like a nut. If I start talking without calibrating, it's just not going to go well. So I pulled up my phone, I swiped down to do a search, and I'd already started thinking like, I should hire Eliyahu Gian as my coach. Maybe he's the person he was my first Kabbalah teacher. And what are the odds that the picture that shows up before I start even typing anything, I just swipe down on my phone, is his picture. So I'm like, okay, got it. All right. And then all sorts of other stuff started happening within days. Like, first time in my life I ever heard the word I'm reading in a book or online coming through auditorially. Like in this case, it was a podcast episode I was listening to in the background at the exact moment that I'm reading the word. And it wasn't a common word. And then it happened again 5 minutes later. Like, what? It hasn't happened in 50 years of me being on this planet. And now it happened twice in 5 minutes. Okay, here's something for me to do. It's not just a hello from the other side of the veil, right? So all these sorts of things that just, it's been a whirlwind of guidance, getting angel numbers that just keep, these repeating numbers that just keep showing up many times in a day. Like, what are the odds? And like, I'll swipe down on my phone, and I haven't been looked on my phone for hours, and it's 11:11. And then I look somewhere else and I look at my financial portfolio or something. I see a 1111, and I'm like, okay, got it. It's like 3 or 4 times in the day. And then I started receiving.
So what do you do?
Guidance.
Yeah. So then what do you do with that when it comes to you? Like, help those who are listening that haven't had an awakening. Number one, like, just what happens and what that experience, and what do you do with the information that's now in front of you?
Well, what I would suggest, first of all, is to ask for a without a doubt sign. If you believe in a higher power, if you believe that there's more to this universe than just what meets the eye, then ask for a sign, a without a doubt sign. Karen Noe is a famous psychic, and she was on my podcast on Get Yourself Optimized, and she talks about without a doubt signs. And here's an example from a staff member of mine. So she knows all about the without a doubt signs and everything, because she'd been working for me for several months already by that time. And her mother had passed. She was in the car by herself, but she decided to have a conversation with her mom. And she's like, Mom, if you actually are listening to me, I need a sign. I need a without a doubt sign. Within 5 seconds, she turns the corner, and right there in the middle of the road is an owl staring her down in the middle of the road, blocking her path. So she stops the car, and she just stares that owl down for 10 minutes. She showed me a video of it. I'm like, wow, that is awesome. Like, that sort of stuff that's a without a doubt sign. When an animal acts very strange, you've probably seen Facebook videos or YouTube videos where there's like a cardinal, and the mother says to the daughter, if I'll let you know I made it to the other side. I'll send you a sign like a cardinal or something. And then there's this cardinal lands on this lady's arm, and she's just looking at it for minutes. And then she says, okay, it's time to go. There you go. You go. And then it comes and flies back, lands right on her shoulder. I don't know if you've seen that video. It's like,
that's awesome.
It's magic. It is absolute magic. So if you want to get some reassurance that you're not alone, and that there's something beyond death, that death isn't to be feared, because it's just a doorway we've been through many times, then ask for a sign, a without a doubt sign, and you'll likely get it. Another way you could do it is to ask for a bunch of angel numbers. There are books that allow you to decode what the meanings are. It's not just a hello, like, oh, I keep getting 1111 all the time. What does that mean? What are they trying to convey to me? There's a book by Doreen Virtue called Angel Numbers 101. There's a book by Kyle Gray called Angel Numbers. And you could just Google if you keep getting 333, just type into Google 333 angel number meaning, or 333 meaning, or angel number 333, something like that. And whatever you just kind of gravitate to, if it's a Google image result, if it's a featured snippet, or it's just the first organic result, that's probably the thing that you're meant to go to. Just follow your intuition, because intuition is
Divinely guided.
It is the whispers of your unseen support team, your higher self, your guardian angels, your guides, the ascended masters. They're whispering into your consciousness. You do have to be discerning, because I've learned some painful lessons where I wasn't discerning and took some advice of not actual guides, but tricksters. So you do have to have discernment, but it's pretty amazing. And if you would have told me this stuff, even just like a year and a half ago, I would say, no, that's not really me. That's not me, but I'll tell you, if you want to get blown away by something that just seems like this can't be real, like that couldn't have happened, listen to my interview of Mark Nelson from June or July. It was July of 2020. He was one of the first psychics I had on my podcast. I had Paul Selig on. He's a famous psychic. But Mark Nelson, he was selected by Fox, the TV show, Most Gifted, I think it was the name of it, or The Gifted, something like that. Out of 700 psychics, 10 or 12 made it onto the show, and then he won.
Oh, that's cool.
They threw all the stuff at him that it was amazing what he was able to do, if you watch clips of the show. Anyways, I had him on my podcast, and he saved my family member's life while I was interviewing him. Like, how can that even happen? So this was before I was even at all interested in psychics. I would never have gone to a psychic reading, like none of that. I had no interest in it. I was, happy with studying Kabbalah, and I don't know. It didn't seem like a thing for me. And then that happened. So out of an entire 3-week time period, I was super busy getting ready to move to Florida. I made room to fit this guy in, who I just happened to meet in a Zoom breakout room on another mastermind that I'm in called Metal. And he saved her life. She was having a stroke and didn't believe it. And then when Orion slipped a piece of paper to me in the middle of the interview to ask him what was happening, and he nailed it. And she did finally go to the hospital after much convincing, saved her life. And she wouldn't have gone. We wouldn't have pushed that hard if we weren't absolutely certain that it was a stroke. And all that happened because of that interview.
Interesting.
So that opened the door for me. Yeah.
So tell me, as you see the signs, and you're, I must say, way more aware. I mean, you're very in tune. What's it led you to? Like, since this happened in January, fast forward, we're a year later. What's it led you to? What decisions have you made that would have been different? So speak to that before we wrap up our interview.
Oh my goodness. Everything is different. Every decision I make, I listen for guidance, and things that seem on the surface like good advice. Like, for example, take out an EIDL loan, EIDL loan from the SBA. It's incredible interest rate, and you can pay it back over many years, and I got to know. I got to know. And then I probed, because I really wanted it, because it was such a good deal and I could get so much money and whatever. Right.
Yep.
And so I kept
asking,
confirming, getting confirmation. Like, I really want it. Like, no, Stephan, this is not for you. And then I asked, just an intuition came to me that I'll likely get audited, won't I? And I got a yes. So I don't want an audit. I mean, I want to be squeaky clean in case I do get audited. And I've made that clear to my bookkeeper and my accountant. But I'd prefer not having that kind of scrutiny. And that's what I'd be in for. Because when you are in this side of the veil, time is very real to you, but it actually is an illusion. So time exists so that we can experience the law of cause and effect, karma. Think of it more like it's a circle, and we're on this circle on in the periphery of it, kind of like a train track. And in the middle is everyone else, all our loved ones who are back on the other side of the veil home, right? And they're watching, and they could see the probable futures. They could see a past. They could see where you're at in the present moment. They're in the eternal now. And they could see, oh, this is going to lead to some no bueno stuff. Let's give them a opportunity to avoid that. And you got to listen. I mean, you don't have to, but it'll be painful if you don't. Like, you go against your intuition and you get slapped. It's not fun. So yeah, it makes sense, right? If you can see the probable futures from that vantage point, and and the asking it's given, right? So you're a fellow Hay House author with Esther Hicks, and I think that's the title of one of her books, is Ask and It Is Given.
Yep.
Right. So you just have to ask. If you don't ask, then they will intervene if your life's at risk and you're not meant to go at that time. But otherwise, they're just sitting back saying, gosh, I wish he'd say something or ask something, or like, raise his hand or something. Right. So they believe it's very important to not interfere with free will. But if you ask for the help, you will get it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm actually going to end on that. That's like, well, actually, I don't have to ask a question. So why do you think so few people ask? Like, I wrote Yes Energy. I mean, I'm in a constant question of openness to that. Why do you think that most people don't ask? They don't. I mean,
I think they're afraid of the.
I'm talking every level. They just don't, they won't even ask for help if their car broke down. I mean, very material, like simple things, they just won't ask for help. When I say they, people in general.
Yeah, I think it's fear of success. Are you familiar with this Marianne Williamson quote?
Which one?
I'll tell you here. It's, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. And she goes on. It's beautiful.
Oh, I know. I love
that quote.
I love it. I do too. I have it on.
And
my
I think
wall.
it ties in with that. I do believe that if we ask and we get an answer that we don't really want because it asks us to step outside our comfort zone, like, you ask the question, like, is it, will it bring about a most benevolent outcome for me to pull over and help this stranded motorist? And it's like, yes. Like, I really didn't want that answer. Well, you can make a choice, but I think more information is better than less if it helps you to be a better soul, right? It's important to remember you are not a human who has a soul. You are a soul inhabiting a human body. And so that's what I feel is stopping people, is that fear of being a light in the world and how it's going to call them to greatness, and maybe they're not ready for it.
Yeah.
It's a big ask.
It's a huge ask, but the responsibility, because I always say, not taking on that success, I spin it the other way and say, I think it's honestly, at some levels, also the most selfish thing you could do, because the gifts that you have that others are needing from you, you're not willing to give, but you withhold them. And I think that's, there's another side to that. I think it's really selfish, because people, especially now, my gosh, do people need an amazing amount of help.
Yes. And if you're not out there shining your light and being amazing and taking up space in the world, then people are dying because they're not getting the message from you. They're not getting the inspiration from you. And I remember Anil Gupta talking about that. And wow, like, that puts things in perspective. Like, who am I to choose to shrink and allow people to not hear this message and to perhaps take their own lives because they're lost and sad and alone.
Yeah, I think we're here to nurture. So, Stephan, I appreciate you. It's been amazing having you back, and we'll go again. We'll
Sounds
go
good.
again. I appreciate it. And again, your podcasts are? So they
Get
can go-
Yourself Optimized.
Mhm.
So that's getyourselfoptimized.com, and Marketing Speak, which is marketingspeak.com. And then my main personal website is stephanspencer.com.
Perfect. We appreciate you. And those of you out there, if you have any question, go to asklaurel.com. That's ASKLORAL, asklaurel.com. Ask any question, make a request. We have a team on there. Around the clock, we'll be right back to you. So we'll be back in touch. Talk next week on our podcast. So this is Laurel, and you've been listening to my podcast. If you've enjoyed this, I have a couple things you can do that are completely up to you. Number one, take my quiz. Go to integratedwealthsystems.com and take the quiz. You will find that there's one of 4 personalities, financial personalities we call them, that you're going to fall into. So as you take the quiz, it'll actually go through and identify, are you in stagnant cash flow, right? Are you overpaying taxes? Do you have debt issues? Are you a lifestyle junkie? Where are you? And then from there, it goes to a video that actually gives you some solutions on how to correct that problem. So again, go to integratedwealthsystems.com, take my quiz, and we'll go from there.
Thanks for listening to the Real Money Talks podcast. Your host has been Laurel Langmeyer, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View. Want to learn more about off-Wall Street investing, tax strategies, and multi-million-dollar business strategies? Visit liveoutloud.com/podcast for past episodes, show notes, and resources. For some special wealth-building gifts only for Laurel's podcast listeners, visit liveoutloud.com/podcast gifts. Do you have a burning question for Laurel? Visit asklaurel.com to submit your question, and it may just be covered on a podcast episode. So stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to get new episodes every week.